Okay. So this is my pitch.
Yep.
2 words.
Okay.
Hulk Hogan.
Okay, yeah, he's super popular wrestler. Great.
2 words.
Okay.
Christopher Lloyd.
Okay, yeah, Back to the Future was the movies were big. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Great.
2 words.
Okay.
Shelley Duvall.
I mean, sure, very capable actress. Okay, so what else?
2 words. Larry Miller.
Sure. Okay, do you have a plot or
2 words. Suburban Commando.
Okay, so is that it? Is that all you've got? That's all I've got to go on?
2 words. It is.
You know when I pick a movie, that's when I'm under pressure now. The question always comes back to me, what were they thinking now? Whoa, what were they thinking? What were they thinking?
Ooh, welcome to What Were They Thinking?
I'm just going to let you know now that your aggression is really out of control, and I don't feel this is a safe space.
Well, I mean, I just thought I was going with the theme of the first half of this month. I thought it was fun. I thought, we're just having a good time.
I am going to need a minute. Okay. I think I'm okay now.
Okay, well, Nathan, that you are Nathan.
Bring it, dude! Just bring it! Blah!
And asterisk, Brendan dies, asterisk. This is the chat room version of What Were They Thinking? A podcast where we talk about bad to questionable movies. This month, first half of this month anyway, we're talking about wrestling because WRESTLEMANIA is coming up for all you wrestling fans out there. All, 200,000 that are left right now. But yeah, we're talking about bad to questionable movies. And this week, Nathan, we are talking about a bad wrestling-related movie. And wrestling-related in that it stars Hulk Hogan, and others. We'll get into that. 1991 release, Suburban Commando.
Yep.
Yeah. Not just regular Commando. He's in the city now. He's in the little town.
He's in the suburbs. He's just outside.
Yeah.
One of the outlier bedroom communities, if you will.
And joining us, as is tradition, when we talk about wrestling, movies.
Van Horn, knock it off.
What?
I said, Jesus, Van Horn, knock it off.
Van Horn.
Jim Van Horn, dude used to work for TSN.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Hated the fact that TSN showed wrestling. Every time there was a break during Monday Night Raw or Monday Nitro, and they had Van Horn working that night doing we'll get you back to the show in a minute, but quick a sports update, he'd always be like, we'll get you back to the wrestling real soon. I was like,
no matter how highbrow or lowbrow it was.
All right, well, let me improve on that then. Here to talk with us about wrestling is a guest that it always comes to visit twice a year. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ryan Gilbert.
Hey, thanks. And, oh man, there is a lot of wrestling in this movie. Even if there's no context of actual wrestling in it, there's certainly a lot of wrestling moments.
Wrestling with their legacy as an actor, wrestling with their choices in life. Why are they not successful as their other relative who's on Married with Children?
But thankfully, Hulk Hogan would go on to win several Golden Globes. That's who we're talking about, right?
Yeah, that's the guy.
Okay. We're talking about
Humanitas award winner.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, this is actually... So it was my turn to pick the movie this year, so I went ahead and picked this one, having never seen this before. I knew of it, and the reason I knew of it was because it was a trailer on my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 VHS.
That is correct.
Oh, when you told me that, it was just like, oh, that took me back to remembering all those minor clips from the movie. Before getting ready to watch Turtles 2, which there are some similarities with Turtles 2 and Suburban Commando, I kind of felt during the duration of this film. Mostly Frank Welker doing like monster noises.
Well, I do think that. So yeah, and when I saw this trailer, I don't know about you, Ryan, but I was like, I need to see this movie because I was a wrestling fan, and I saw like Hulk Hogan is basically like a Terminator from space. Sign me up. Or I guess he has like parts of the Terminator's armor. Some of it's missing. Yeah. I'm assuming budget cuts. I don't know.
He's not a robot though.
No, but he has the. It looks like he just has like some of the metal that the Terminator has though.
Okay.
It doesn't look like armor to me. It literally just looks like they gave up on the costume like halfway through.
I thought he was like intergalactic baseball player or something like that.
This movie,
I don't know what we're gonna say. I don't know what we're gonna say about this movie.
Pay homage to other various movies in so slight ways. We open with a Star Wars entry, for God's sake.
Yeah, we have that really long ship that passes over the camera, and literally, my first note is Star Wars. This movie is 15 seconds in, and we're already ripping off Star Wars. When you say homage, Nathan,
I mean ripping off.
Okay,
I mean. Yeah,
let's put that up.
I was trying to, putting it like, because my next note after the Star Wars knockoff note is, oh no, it's a Spaceballs knockoff because there's a space president and they're talking about taxpayers in space. In space.
It also kind of opens like the Phantom Menace where they're just talking about taxes and shit.
Right.
Hey kids, you wanted a space movie? Let's talk about government, your favorite thing.
George Lucas took note. He probably did during those theatrical screenings.
Oh, for sure. George Lucas saw this movie opening night.
This played well. This played well with the children. I think this opening scene was really they wanted to hear more about the taxes.
Can I get a Coke Zero? Apparently this movie is a biopic, guys, because Hulk Hogan plays Chef Gordon Ramsay. That's what I heard a million times. Every time they said his name was Shep Ramsay. I was like, Chef Ramsay?
Well, if it was the old Chef Ramsay, he probably would have better comebacks than shut up.
Yeah, going up. Which, okay, we should note right now, this movie was and Nathan just found this out 3 minutes ago.
Blew my mind.
Yeah. This movie was originally going to star Arnold Schwarzenegger in the Hogan, like the role that Hogan plays. And Christopher Lloyd's role was originally going to be Danny DeVito. So
now I want to see those roles reversed.
Oh my God, yes.
Yep.
Where Schwarzenegger is a schlub and Danny DeVito is an action hero.
They turned this down for twins.
Oh, I think they made the right decision.
Yeah. If it said junior, I'd be more on the fence. But yeah, they definitely turned it down for twins. But that's what I think. Like, so all the opening stuff where Hogan is like, Hogan's a space bounty hunter, kind of, I guess.
I thought he was like a mercenary.
Yeah, but he's like.
I thought he was both, and then some
neither.
That was very vague.
But he's on this spaceship as the movie opens, and he's like blasting people away. And
by the way, as they're going through this spaceship. My next note was, oh no, it's a Red Dwarf knockoff, because those are some cheap looking sets.
Oh, this movie looks incredibly cheap. Yeah. Like the budget on this thing, I do have it. Hold on 1 second, let's find out, because we have to, because this whole movie looks like a TV.
Put it
movie.
into context, eh?
Yeah,
it does look like a TV movie, like a sci-fi thing.
Let's take a look here as I pull up my notes. It's very exciting for the listeners. The budget for this thing was $11 million.
Okay.
And it made $8 million. So not a big success. Not a big success. But I was going to say, Hogan is going through, beating up all these people. And as he's doing it, he's got these like really, really like basic one-liners. And I just, every time I heard one of his one-liners, I thought, oh, Schwarzenegger probably would have beefed this up a little bit. Like, these were definitely written for Arnold, but also, like, if you think of something better, just go with it. But it's Hulk Hogan. doesn't have the acting range of an Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Can I say ice to see you?
I mean, you can in about 6 years, I guess. But
I'm going to see it now.
Right now.
I will go to Twins with Danny DeVito.
Shut up.
Just thought of how funny it'd be to have Schwarzenegger play a character called Ramsey. Oh, man. So, yeah, the Star Wars open. So we learned that this villain, General Suitor, is his name. Great villain name, of course. And he's holding this president, the space president, hostage, basically telling him, like, your people need to give it up. You need to give it up. Give up your planet, or I'm going to annihilate all your people. And this guy, by the way, this president's name is Hashina. And I was like, that doesn't look like a Hashina. I'm just going to say it.
But he's an alien. The best part about it, though, is that...
Oh, not the bad guy. The president dude.
Yeah. The president guy would also be an alien.
Would he, though?
He's not from Earth.
I mean, is Hogan an alien? I don't really know.
Yes, he is.
Okay. I thought his suit...
Does he have alien transforming powers?
See, I thought Hogan just had the suit that made him do stuff. I didn't know he was actually, like... I thought he was just a big tough guy.
One of the first things he says when he's kind of banished to Earth for 3 weeks to charge his ship at a super low rate, he says, I hate Earthlings.
Right.
So...
Earthites.
So, which, this whole thing made me kind of laugh because they have a president who has taxpayers, and he is in, like, a tailored suit, looking like an Earth politician.
Yeah.
Why does this alien society have an exact duplicate of Earth's society?
Because there were probably like 5...
They live logic or something?
There were probably like 5 writers, and the budget was mostly for Hulk Hogan.
It's like, we can't pay for any rubber alien suit. Just make him look like a representative from Kansas.
Oh, they can pay for a rubber alien suit. We'll see that later.
Only one, but I think it's fairly good.
So he's threatening the president, give up your people. Hulk Hogan comes in and like starts yelling out like, watch out, Hashina. And suddenly the General Suitor guy lets out like a lizard claw and starts choking him. But then Hogan is just like, well, I tried.
The president had like a Ninja Star envelope with him.
Yeah. But Hogan just doesn't even like the minimal amount of effort to save the president. Like,
what are you gonna do?
Well, if this movie was made in 2019, I'd be like, oh, okay, that checks out. Why would you? Why would you put in the effort to save the president? But this was so yeah. He's just like, well, gotta go. Slides out, plants a bomb, and blows the whole fucking ship up. So
I'm a hero.
Yeah. I mean, we even have the guy kind of debriefing Hogan later, being like, well, you let the president die. But then he's just kind of like, no, I'm not mad. You saved everyone. It's fine.
I happened to look up when Ramsey was trying to write himself in his pod at first, and it looked like he was doing something that wasn't trying to write himself in the... Well, maybe he was trying to write himself in the pod if you're doing right, but no, you know what? He looked like he was masturbating.
Well,
I'm just gonna
Nathan,
put that out there.
If you want to compare to like, we know what Hogan looks like when he's masturbating. We can just compare.
You were thinking it's going to be a film theme with like all these movies with Hogan. I get you.
We have source material we can go back to.
So they reference aliens in that, like, legitimately the movie Aliens in the debriefing. Where he's like, you gotta say, xenomorphic aliens who bleed acid.
Yeah,
are the exact lines. I'm like, okay, stop reminding us of way better movies.
I think that's probably the writers of Suburban Commando were like, haha, let's take a shot at aliens, guys. We're a fucking bunch of fucking losers. Aliens with skin, with blood that's made out of acid. Okay. But yeah, he basically, his superior is like, listen, buddy, you're in rough shape. You just want to take job after job after job. You need to cool down. You just punched the shit out of your own control panel and drained all the power. So you got to go land anyway and fuel up for a while and take like 6 weeks off to do that. So then,
well, because he couldn't do it any faster because anything faster would be traceable by bounty hunters who are apparently looking for him.
Yeah, sure. Already, even though this thing has just happened. Like the bounty hunters that are apparently in like a ride or die agreement with General Suter, who will kill anyone that kills him, I guess. Again, this happened 5 minutes ago, if that. So Hogan is like, of course, like he said, he sees Earth and he's like, ugh, Earthlings, I hate Earthlings. Opening credits, cut to a song performed by a rapper and Hulk Hogan.
J-Rock.
J-Rock.
No, not that J-Rock. Another J-Rock.
On a 900 line, gives you chill. Rap on with the rapper, clap on with the clapper. It's a nice place to live,
but I wouldn't want to visit.
Such a nice place to live.
Nah.
It's a nice place to live,
but I wouldn't want to visit.
Such a nice place to live.
No, not that.
When I heard Hogan...
It's like, what year are we at right now? Are we still within the 80s? Are we going to the 90s now? I'm confused by listening to this song.
Well, that's the thing. This movie is made in that sweet, sweet spot.
It is a
where
beautiful
where
sweet,
it's
yes.
it's the 90s, but it's still the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun to know that 91, like for release, it's just like that tip, almost that tip end that you still get that blending goodness.
If you want to kind of really define when the 90s shifted away into like their own thing or however you want to put it, I would probably go right around the time the debut of grunge. You know, when Nirvana and Soundgarden and them all started kind of hitting. I would say that's exactly when the 90s, when everybody thinks of the
like
90s.
Bill and Ted
they don't
2?
think of this when they think of 90s. They think of that. They think late 80s with this sort of thing, even though it was 91.
I think movie-wise, I think of the first Wayne's World. I think that feels like the earliest, because that's like 92, I believe.
Yeah, and but that's fair too, because that's still more of the straight-haired rock and roll. They do pay the Queen stuff, but I mean, at the time there was like Red Hot Chili Peppers. There were alternative bands on that soundtrack and stuff too. So yeah, I would say that's 92. I mean, when did Nirvana hit? 93, so
early 90s, I think. Yeah. So
anyhow,
this
Suburban
song,
Commando.
Yeah, so this song is not as good as any of them, is what I'm trying to say.
No.
We meet Christopher Lloyd, who plays Charlie, and at first I thought he was an inventor, which I guess he's like more like a planner, an architect, maybe. Is he an architect?
Yes, he's
okay.
Yeah.
And, of course, his family, his wife is Shelley Duvall. They have 2 kids. And thank God, I was worried that the whole movie was just going to be Hogan and these 2 kids. So, thankfully, this is not Mr. Nanny.
No, save that for another movie.
Yeah.
But he can't pay their bills. And Shelley Duvall is like, you need to go ask your boss for a raise. But the problem is with Charlie is that he doesn't really like
confrontation. His boss is Larry
confrontation.
Miller.
Yeah, his boss is Larry Miller.
Perfect.
But he doesn't like confrontation. Charlie is afraid of asking for anything. He's afraid of standing his ground, so much so that he is even threatened by Shelley Duvall mockingly intimidating him into going to ask his boss for a raise. Shelley Duvall, the tiniest person on earth.
And you know what? A fine actress who I find is criminally underutilized in this movie.
Oh, yeah, for sure. She's in like 4 scenes.
Yeah.
So he goes to his boss, and like you said, Larry Miller is his boss. Classic bad guy from the early 90s, late 90s. You know, chairman of the board, we're talking here. So he goes into work, and Larry Miller is there and just nabs up those blueprints, and he's looking it up. And he does this fancy thing where he has a computer, and he's like reading off all these facts about him. He's like, and how are your children? Blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And are you still allergic to tuna? See, I know you. I love all my employees.
Tweet I noted, wow, aren't the 90s going to be full of computers and wackiness?
And
like magic.
Another super big trope in this movie is the idea of Japanese investors.
Oh,
every movie like this.
I did enjoy. I got the one good laugh out of when Larry David's talking to them, Larry Miller.
That would have been great.
Still would have worked, I think.
You got the blueprints.
Anyways, where Larry Miller is talking to the Japanese guys first talking, and one of them says, and they subtitle it, which I was like, wow, subtitles in a Hulk Hogan movie, get right out. It says, he said, I think I'm really gonna hate this asshole.
Yeah, something like that.
And the translator says the absolute opposite, and then he calls her a coward.
Yeah, so that's going on. While that's going on, Hogan's ship lands in a really awful special effect into a building.
We are pointed out very heavily that the awards that Larry David Miller won was Simeon Crystal, and I was like,
Monkey
man,
Crystal?
they really went out of their way to point that out. I think that's going to be a plot point later.
Yeah.
I should have said that, but then later when it comes up again, I was like, oh, of course.
Which when it came up, I was like, why would they have the exact same name for that type of crystal in Shep's world? Anyhow.
So Hogan
5 days to write this
probably in a week, a really coke-fueled weekend.
Yeah.
Hogan crash lands into a big building, and because there's a bunch of electrical wiring and shit, he sets off some disco music. Hilarious.
Taking shots at disco too, right?
That's a pretty bold stance in 1991. I'm just gonna say. These writers were like, watch out, everyone.
Hot takes all through this thing.
But back to Christopher Lloyd, we have more evidence that he doesn't take chances, is that he doesn't want to run traffic lights. Does that mean that he doesn't take chances, or does that mean that he's kind of just a safe driver?
Maybe the fact that his car is so small it would be obliterated by anything. Yeah, I'd be a little more cautious if I was driving that car as well.
Yeah, because everyone goes on the yellow, and he just, waits, and I'm like, well, what am I supposed to think here?
Maybe if it does happen a few more times, it'll give you more time to think about
I hope so.
the meaning.
Yeah, he's a slowpokey nerd.
Yeah,
I think that's what they're jabbing at.
What they're gonna need to do in this movie is repeat the same jokes over and over again before I start getting it. I agree, Ryan. That's the best strategy for this movie.
Huh?
This is one of the more hilarious moments coming up here, is that Hogan is just walking around town with his full armor and stuff, and this kid is just following him, smiling. And then I don't know if you guys noticed, but there's another kid that gets up and starts following him. But when you see his face, he looks terrified to be on camera. Not terrified in character. He just looks like,
I don't want to be an extra anymore.
I don't want to do this. And all the women are just looking at Hogan walking by, being like, who is this fucking specimen of just pure, unfiltered sex appeal?
I thought they were more like, look at this guy. He looks like a weirdo. But, whatever you want to read that.
I don't know.
Sure.
There was. I got the drift that a lot of people were like, okay, who's the big guy with the G.I. Joe costume on? The Space Force G.I. Joe, whatever. And the ladies, it looked like some of the ladies were into it. But it had a weird combination of the two.
Yeah.
And then he murdered an RC Cola machine.
It's almost, Nathan, it's almost like they couldn't direct the extras properly.
That's a possibility.
Yes, he does murder an RC Cola machine, to which I note, good riddance.
I think Ben would take umbrage with that.
Wow.
My good friend
delicious
Ben loves
Cola.
RC Cola.
We'll have to.
Although if you
some bowling alley chips,
that's the thing. If you want to get an RC Cola experience, if you can't get RC Cola, just go buy generic brand soda cola. It's the same stuff.
I do like how when he smashes the machine to get that woman her change back, everybody scurries as if they're all homeless, just running around, all these quarters on the ground.
After he murders the RC Cola machine, he sees a dog in a truck on a hot day, obviously, and the windows are all rolled up, and it's a pickup truck, and he looks over at this alfresco dining area where, I don't know, less than reputable chap is having a supper, and he's yelling at the dog. Hulk Hogan goes over, and the guy's like, "What?" And then it's a switcheroo where he's freed the dog, giving them the guy's food, and taking the dude's clothes.
And put a muzzle on him.
Yes.
Which I also noted, number one, I don't think the dog had that muzzle on before.
Yes, it did.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, it
okay.
did, yeah.
But my second thing is, did no one see that whole thing go down and think, maybe someone should call the cops?
Maybe they just know this guy and felt he deserved it.
I gotta say, in most of this movie, there are several times I noted there are no police in this town.
Right. I also have other questions about the way things get done in this town, because have you guys, both you guys rent apartments, and I used to be a renter back in the day, and I never ever once picked up a sign that said apartment for rent and just pointing in a direction.
To a house.
Just go in this general direction. There'll be an apartment for rent, we assure you.
Yeah, it's just on like a fucking like a pole, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's no phone numbers or anything.
No, just follow
It's
these
just an
directions.
arrow. Yeah, exactly.
If there was like a scene of like folll the arrows, that would have been
that would have been
limo juice.
fantastic. And then Shelley Duvall is just like, I just wanted to make sure we got a good listener.
Then why'd you go to put them in the sewer? I mean, I followed them and all.
Oh, dudes, what are you doing down here? Oh shit, it's a crossover.
Guys will promote my movie on your VHS, won't you, brother?
Oh my god, why did Hogan never team up with the Turtles? Lost opportunity.
Because he was too busy hanging out with the Three Ninjas.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
on
right.
Mega Mountain.
And Ernest.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a coming soon. God. So Christopher Lloyd, aka Charlie, comes home and starts dealing with these neighborhood adult bullies, and a unfortunate chap that lives next door who is suffering from some very severe PTSD and apparently just like sitting in a tank all day.
And it was at this point I had noted this movie is like Falling Down, but played for laughs.
It really is, because he's clearly got like severe problems, and he's drinking.
got some pent up rage. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and he's drinking, and he's sitting in a tank, and he keeps addressing everyone as like private and colonel and everything.
Oh no, I mean Christopher Lloyd as
Oh.
Michael Douglas from Falling Down.
Oh, but I'm just saying that guy. Somebody should call that guy some help.
Oh yeah, PTSD neighbor. I have the note right here.
So Christopher Lloyd gets home, and Shelley Duvall does like this sexy seduction.
And I gotta say, that's a good woman. I must say, because she's looking out for her fella in one of the few scenes that she gets used in this movie, and he can't.
No,
not in the mood. Which was, man, he must be dead. So dead inside.
He basically does the not tonight. I have a headache. Which I also have another question though. Does she just have that wig for that purpose?
Maybe she bought it that day for that purpose.
Okay.
I mean,
I just thought it was funny.
It's got to start somewheres, right?
Just thought it was funny that she also had that wig on. But yeah, she tries to, and he's like, not tonight, not tonight. And then he goes out to his work shed, and Shelley Duvall has converted it into an apartment in the span of 7 hours.
Thank you. In a working day,
shift.
she has transformed a working garage filled with tools and all the, we saw that what he was working on before he went to work that day, and has put down drywall, and there is like flooring down, closets are in there.
It is like a perfectly laid out apartment. Like it looks like you would see in like in like pictures online. Like, look at this beautiful place. And I gotta say, like, as much as I would be mad like Charlie is, I would be more impressed. Like, holy shit, did you do this by yourself?
She hired the income property people from that show I imagine is on Home Garden Television.
Okay.
Thank you for the endorsement.
Wait, are you part of that show, Ryan? Are you a secret producer? Wait a second. Why did you ask specifically to do this movie?
Because of Suburbia.
So they got this apartment, and luckily Hulk Hogan comes over like almost right away to rent that apartment.
He can follow arrows.
He can follow arrows. And immediately he starts eating with them, and he eats like a pig. Also,
and double dips.
Oh, does he ever? No, thank you. He also makes a Coneheads reference. Did you guys catch that one too? Because he says, they're like, "Where are you from?" And he saes, "I'm from France."
France. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Right.
like, oh shit, referencing 1970s SNL sketches.
Or
They'll do as a movie 2 years later.
yeah, exactly.
Yep. Do you think Lauren saw Suburban Commando and was like,
Now you can, Dan. Now you can.
oh, but anyway, yeah, Hogan comes over to rent the apartment, and automatically Charlie is a little weirded out because Hulk Hogan is a massive human being and wearing like all this metal and shit. I guess he doesn't have the metal on.
He
right
doesn't
now.
have the medal on at that point because remember he stole that guy's clothes and nobody called the police.
But Charlie does start sneaking around and wants to know a little bit more information about this guy. He finds one of his space guns under the bed and just shoots a hole through the wall that just blows up some random person's car that we never get any follow-up to. That guy never
You think
thought...
they could have at least tied it into the jerks next door?
That's what I thought it was going to be. The jerks that wouldn't let him go into the driveway. That's what I thought the follow-up was going to be. But no, the only real follow-up to that we get is that the next day Christopher Lloyd comes out and Hulk Hogan is working out with parts of the blown-up car, I think.
No, he wasn't. No, he was doing reps with a drill press and a bandsaw.
Okay. So my question at this point is, why haven't they called the cops yet? Because the space gun alone would be enough for me to be like, nope, bye. Coming up, Shelley Duvall should, what happens next? Shelley Duvall should be reporting this.
That she loves the Marsha Warfield show?
That was such a dated reference. I didn't get that at all.
Marsha Warfield was Roz on Night Court, and she had a talk show for a little bit.
Second of 2 Night Court cameos in this movie.
Well, they rented the footage anyway.
Who was the other one?
Quan Lee is one of those, the translator.
Thank you. Oh my God, I knew.
You were thinking about that? It's who could that be?
I couldn't place it, and I was like, I know it's not Margaret Cho. Kudos to me for not thinking that she was one and the same. So there you go. Man, Quan Lee, there you go.
Maybe she'll be in the Night Court reboot.
So Shelley,
I love that.
I can't believe I'm saying those words.
Shelley Duvall is watching Marsha Warfield, and she starts, but we don't see that she's watching. We just hear her screaming, and Hogan is like, "Oh shit!"
Right,
and runs into the house and grabs her, and then she's like, "No, I'm doing this new activity called Screaming for Health," and I'm like, "Okay, whatever, bullshit movie." And then and she's like, "I'm watching Marsha," and the mailman shows up. Hogan nearly murders him with a butcher knife.
That night.
yes.
Again, police. Call the police.
Yeah.
You have a psychopath in your house.
I don't know, man. I think that a lot of this stuff if they're gonna go full on bonkers with a movie like this, that one of the best things they could have done is just played up how nobody reacts because it's LA and everybody's insane.
But they don't really do that, though.
No, they don't.
Some people react. Some people don't.
They would have had the perfect opportunity in that opening scene when he's walking down before he takes the guy's clothes, where everybody's just like, yeah, whatever, just some guy.
No, instead Hogan,
it's LA.
Hogan assaults the newspaper kid by throwing the newspaper back at him
with the propeller cap on,
and he just lands in the bushes with his feet just kind of wriggling. Hogan then goes over and confronts those adult bullies because he moves their he moves their shit out of the way so Christopher Lloyd can go into the driveway. And then the adult bullies come over and Hogan's just like, what are you going to do? You want to pick a fight and we want to get down and dirty and start beating each other up? And he's like, no, we're going to sue you. It's the 90s. We'll see you in court.
You got any idea what these cars are worth? $30,000. You got any idea what we're gonna do to you if we find one itty-bitty scratch on them? Any idea?
Let me guess. You're gonna pound my face, break every bone in my body, then you're gonna drag me across the gravel road and feed my remains to a warthog. Is that about right?
What are you, nuts? This is the 90s. We're gonna sue you. We're gonna get you for willful destruction of property.
Yeah.
Mental anguish.
That's getting it to him.
Loss of work hours. We get through with you, you ain't gonna have a dime left to your name.
You'll be hearing from our attorney.
And I kind of laughed at that scene a little bit. That was kind of a funny joke.
Yeah.
Because it does go against the stereotype, and then, but again, we don't go back to that ever again.
It's one of those things where I don't know. Those are the only two ways they could have gone with it, and I do remember gags like that happening a lot in comedies around this time because everyone talking about political correctness and feelings and people suing everybody. The lady who sued McDonald's for burning herself with hot coffee. all that stuff had happened right around then, so everybody was in a very litigious mindset. So yeah, this was a spot on joke for that time.
Wait, coffee's hot?
Yeah, and there's a warning on the cup and everything for you now.
Oh, thank God. So glad you brought that up for me.
That's exactly what I was thinking,
yeah, so then Hogan starts doing other shit. There's a guy that drives around the neighborhood really fast that nearly murders a child, Christopher Lloyd's son. So he saves him, and then
plays Spin the Trans Am.
Oh my God! And he hunts them down, and I think he's about to murder them before Christopher Lloyd steps in.
Well, he flips over their car.
Yeah, and then just gives it a little spin. Again, no one in this neighborhood is like, this is kind of weird. And they are so, Christopher Lloyd and Shelley Duvall and everything, they're so happy that he saved their son, so they give him a big piece of cake and take a family picture. That's what you do.
That was weird.
That was so weird. Like, and like, yeah, they're like, here's some cake. He starts eating it, and then like, okay, everybody get together for a picture. And I'm like, this isn't a way humans do stuff.
I found it was hilarious. Like, he was eating it, and she was like, hurry, quick.
Yeah.
It's like, he's going to eat it all.
It's almost like when you're trying to like distract a dog so that they'll take a good picture with you. So Hogan at this point is just doing, it is a bunch of vignettes of him going around town. He stops a purse snatcher. He goes up to a car with one of those like talking car alarms. And
yeah, that's apparently self-aware and can feel. Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently the car was made by Skynet. Because it just literally starts begging off from him, right? It's like, no,
come
please.
on, seriously, let's talk about this.
Yeah, that was bizarre.
Please, for a mistake, you can stand as close as you want. In fact, take the car. No, please, wait, no. Let's talk about this. No. Oh, Lord, I'm falling, and I can't get off.
Because the movie, like, I think, the movie, like you said, it almost should be like no one reacts to anything or everyone reacts to it. Like, they need to pick a lane, but they just kind of keep wavering back and forth. And the same thing with this. Like, if you're going to have this kind of weird logic, then just go with it the whole movie. Don't expect me to like buy into anything in any kind of serious way and then do a joke where a car alarm is like, no, please, don't hurt me.
I've fallen. I can't
it's basically
get up.
Hal. Hal is a car alarm.
So we meet our mime.
Yeah.
Oh God, the
My
mime.
favorite character.
Who apparently thinks that the highest traffic busking area is an alley behind a building in the middle of the night.
In the middle of the night. Who are you performing for? And Hogan shows up and thinks, because he's doing the whole thing where he thinks there's like he's in a box or whatever.
Yeah, trapped in a box. Yeah.
And Hogan is like, I'll punch this imaginary force field for you, brother. And of course, just knocks the mime out, which I think would have killed him based on the strength we've seen Hogan have.
Yeah.
And this is the one time they could have done this joke, and then left it. It would have been fine. But no, they got to bring this character back in what, like 2 more times?
2 more times.
Bonkers.
Comedy rule of 3, baby.
This should have been a rule of 1. Get that laugh and get out.
At the same time, Christopher Lloyd finds Hogan's ship, but then we quickly go back because Hogan goes into an arcade, and this is another moment where like the logic thing is like, what am I watching? Because he's
into the wizard territory.
Worst part about it is the kid's playing Afterburner. He's just flying like an F-15 Tomcat. It's just a regular plane.
Yeah.
But they're screaming about alien overlords and using like the sci-fi laser photon torpedoes. It's like, dude, it's Afterburner.
There is no Dragos or anything.
Exactly.
Like
but Hogan plays it so he's like, let me take over, brother. And he plays it so well that the machine explodes and then a white flag sticks out of the back of it.
Yeah.
Is this a Mel Brooks movie? Like, is this a fucking... is this made by like is this a David Zucker film? Like that's what this is on the level of.
Here's the thing: if we had known that, if it had been that from the beginning, we would have probably regarded this as high comedy.
Well, at least a comedy.
At least you're like, that's why. Yeah. That's why it's like this.
Oh, the whole
movie
is
David
like
Zucker.
Like, say what you will about Scary Movie and the sequels. I like some of them, but like. at least it's a parody from minute 1 to the end. Like, you know exactly what the logic, the internal logic in that movie is, that there is no internal logic. Like, it's just all over the place.
We also find out that the only video games they could apparently get the rights to use the name for were Afterburner and Joust.
Oh,
yeah, I was about to say,
Joust.
Afterburner's like the more current game that they had in that arcade.
So Christopher Lloyd finds Hogan's armor, and he decides to put it on and save a woman from some crooks. 'Cause why not?
Were they? No, I think they were going to rape her.
Oh yeah, it was pretty dire.
In a 90s Hulk Hogan kids family movie.
It is, exactly. I'm glad.
Which you got the preview for on Ninja Turtles 2.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because this was 1991, so all the ratings were around, and this is only PG. So this isn't like PG-13 where, like, it might be some stuff that might be a little scary. No, this is fucking PG. Like, basically a kid's movie.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
No, basically about it, he was still a huge white meat babyface at the time. There's no way kids were not going to be wanting to go see this movie.
I did write down, so in this scene, Christopher Lloyd shows up and, like, tries to stop them, so they shoot him in the chest, and he just, like, falls over, but he's not hurt or whatever, because of the armor. But then I also wrote down, like, it reminded me of that scene in Dumb and Dumber where he's like, what if they just shot you in the face? It's like, what if that dude had just been like, oh shit, bang, dead. Yeah. Right?
It would have been a very short movie.
Or a very interesting rest of movie.
It would have taken a seriously dark turn, that's for sure.
The rest of Hogan's just
Hulk Hogan trying to explain to Shelley Duvall where her husband is.
To the kids. Listen, little brothers.
I couldn't invest in a face mask, I'm sorry. They need to see my face.
This isn't WrestleMania 9, dude. Randy Savage didn't fuck me up in a gym, or whatever the story is. So anyway, Christopher Lloyd gets up, and he gets up because he has rocket boots, of course. And they just send him charging into the crooks and knock them down, and saves the woman. And then we cut away and we find out that the Brothers of Destruction are coming to Earth.
Yeah, that would have been great, wouldn't it? If the other one would have been Glenn Jacobs.
Oh my God. Guys, Mean Mark, the Undertaker, in this movie as a bounty hunter. I believe when this movie would have come out, he would have already been the Undertaker. Can you imagine being like a young WWF fan and going to see this and being like, the Undertaker?
Dude, that's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
Yep.
I saw this. I didn't see it in theaters. My dad certainly wasn't shelling out theater money for this kind of movie. And he was right to not do that. But when it hit video, I absolutely watched this. And when we saw The Undertaker, my brother and I instantly knew who it was. We were like, oh, are they going to make him talk? Because The Undertaker hadn't talked at that point really at all.
Well, they do. Well, that's coming up.
Yeah, kind of.
But yeah, Undertaker and some other dude, they're bounty hunters, critter style, and they're on their way down.
Thank
to
you.
Earth. Yeah, it's critters. But before we get to that, another pretty well-known actress, Elisabeth Moss, is in this movie, and she plays a little girl because this was 1991, so she was super young. And she gets Hogan to save her cat out of a tree. It's literally a save the cat moment, but they don't even do that right. Because Hogan...
I love this, actually.
Brings the branch down. Elisabeth Moss is like, that's not my cat. So Hogan is like, what? Let's go, and murders a cat.
Poor Sassy from Homeward Bound.
Those types of cats are assholes anyway. That's what I have noted here.
No.
A cat uphold.
Poor cat.
Deserved it.
Well, no. I like the payoff to that later, though.
Hashtag pet murder.
Elisabeth Moss nearly gets murdered later.
Yeah.
Hogan also learns about ripe melons, or how to tell a melon is ripe, from an old lady, to which I noted, are we going to do a boob joke in this scene? Like, what's going on?
I would have respected that joke more than the one we got.
That was unnerving.
Yeah.
Hogan is like, oh, you just got to squeeze the melons to see if they're ripe, and it just explodes all over her face, which was an unnecessary shot.
That's a creepy gif right there.
Put it on the episode post. So at this point, Hogan. Oh, by the way, Hogan has run into the mime already, like a second time. He like threw him up on a roof because he thought he was using a rope. He runs into him a third time, and this time the mime is like, "No way, pal!" and just runs off. At least he's miming during the day this time.
At least, right?
Right. At least he's like, "Oh, wait."
I still don't feel like it was a high traffic area for busking, though.
No, it really isn't. He needs to work on his business model. But Hogan at this point is like, he gets in his ship and he realizes that his suit is gone.
He's in Mime Club. He has to do it in secret. He can't talk about it to anybody because the first rule of Mime Club is you don't talk about Mime Club. Well, you don't talk at all because it's Mime Club, right?
And the second rule is
these rich backstories.
The second rule is if you're super depressed, you can be a mime. So yeah, Hogan gets into his ship and he finds out that his suit is gone. So he goes to where Christopher Lloyd works. I like the detail that he is intimidated by his secretary because she is a sassy young lady
and carries quite the magnum.
Yep. And she tells him to take a seat. So he picks up the bench. He takes a seat. And then Christopher Lloyd comes out. He learns that he has to have blueprints ready for tonight. Whatever, sure.
Well, because as we said, Larry David is just basically riding Christopher Lloyd's intelligence into success.
Yeah, exactly. Hogan just grabs Christopher Lloyd. He's like, "What are you doing with my suit, brother?" The secretary pulls a gun on him. So it's like, oh, this was made in 1991. And so Hogan is like, "Well, you're gonna go help me find my suit," because he just like left it in that alley. Like he just got into it, saved a woman, and then left it there. So they go off looking, and this is a moment in the movie, guys, where I thought, man, it would have been so prophetic if Arnold Schwarzenegger had played the Hogan role, because they go over to a bank because they start to see people that are frozen. And I thought of like
with
Mr.
Christmas
Freeze.
Music playing in a non-Christmas time of year.
Oh, but before that, he tears the door off Christopher Lloyd's car, and then they use a PKE meter.
Yes.
From Ghostbusters?
As the track. Yeah, it was like from Ghostbusters 2, I think.
I think it's in the first one too.
I mean this specific model, like the design for it. I think they were slightly different.
Sleek looking one, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
So yeah, and then yes, we come to the bank where people have been frozen, and you're absolutely correct.
Just imagine, like, Schwarzenegger was like, "I don't need to do this Frozen movie. I'm already going to be Mr. Freeze." But yeah, he's looking around. Everyone's frozen because they're using Hogan's gun or whatever. They go and find the crooks. I'm pretty sure they're the same crooks, right? From earlier.
It is the same guys, yeah.
Yeah, and they're robbing a bank. They shoot the freeze thing at Hogan, but hilariously, guys, ready for a great joke? He downs a bottle and says, antifreeze.
Which
lesson, kids.
He's blind now.
Yeah, and it's again, yes.
Didn't even put it in wine.
And Ryan, you mentioned the kids. You're right. This is a great message for the kids watching. Just drink antifreeze.
If you think you're gonna freeze, just drink some antifreeze.
I mean, it's right there in the name.
Yeah.
So he's fine, but unfortunately Christopher Lloyd does get frozen so that we can hear him utter the infamous line later. "I was frozen today."
I was frozen today.
So again, another scene where I'm not sure what onlookers are thinking, because Hogan puts a frozen Christopher Lloyd in his car, sticking out through the roof, just driving around. Hogan can drive a car too. I didn't think he could drive a car.
Again, apparently their world is an absolute perfect opposite of ours, except Hulk Hogan hates ours apparently.
Maybe that's why. Maybe he thinks like his world came up with it first.
Now the bounty hunter guys, they showed up and attacked at the bank,
and
then
they do.
Yeah, and then we see them later for some reason destroy the takeout, the drive-through sign at the Surfin' Burger.
Yeah, the 90s vernacular burger.
Because they seemed mean.
They steal a car that says "just married," like they steal that from somewhere.
Yeah.
And the person at the Surfin' Burger figures they're like newlyweds and is like, and they're like, "We ain't gay," basically, and just shoots the Surfin' Burger sign.
Yeah.
Like, okay, whatever.
Sure, movie.
Yeah, sure, 1991. Whatever you say.
And then comes the whole alien Rambo speech from Christopher Lloyd where he says, "I was frozen today."
I love his delivery on that line.
Oh, it's
He
beautiful.
is trying his damnedest. You can't fault the guy. He did not phone this thing in at all.
Not at
which,
all.
well, to look at it is like this would be something that someone would see. This is a payday. Just an easy paycheck.
I wonder.
What at the time?
Oh, sorry. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, what at the time he was doing those live action segments on the Back to the Future animated series?
Yeah.
I wonder if at the time too that he was like, he only like if he replaced DeVito first, and then he was like, "Oh, I'm going to be in a movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Shelley Duvall. Of course, I'll do it." And then when Hogan came in, he was like, fuck."
Yeah,
Great
damn it.
So yeah, there's that whole back and forth, and then oh my god, the simian crystals.
They come into play.
They come back into play because they actually, what do? They power his ship or something?
Yeah, well, yes, they do. And also, where they go looking for it, isn't Larry Miller's making some awful jokes?
Yes. Like Hulk Hogan from WrestleMania 9.
Yeah.
Oh god, I was gonna quote it, but I can't even quote it. It's that bad. But yeah, no, he is in this movie. He's making some stereotypical Japanese jokes. But yeah, they basically decide like we have to go get these simian crystals and to power my ship so I can and then kill these bounty hunters and escape and blah 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 blah. So they go to this big like party at his work where Larry Miller is poised to make this deal with the Japanese investors. That's what they're called the whole movie. I'm not simplifying anything. That's the movie.
I think that's all they call it, but they do get the names.
Do they?
In the credits, I think.
Oh, in the credits. Okay.
Yeah.
No time in the editing booth for names for these characters.
No.
So they go to this party, and Margie is there, the secretary, and she is wet for Hulk Hogan. Like she's basically talking about like I like these big beefy football players, and she's like hanging off his arm, and Hogan's into it, and then Christopher Lloyd has to be like, no, we're here for the crystals, and he's like, okay. It was your idea, buddy. So they use these binoculars that can apparently see through anything in the world.
I think, yeah.
They locate the crystals where Larry Miller is talking to the Japanese investors. They go over there, or Christopher Lloyd finds them, and he's like, "No, you got to come with me." He's like distracting him or whatever. And in the meantime, Hogan comes in, and then they're starting to like bag the crystals. But Margie shows up with a gun again.
Yeah,
says, put those down. She's a real company gal. But then, what sets off probably the best 5-10 minutes of this movie, because the bounty hunters show back up, and we get a whole like fight sequence here.
Yeah, and at one point, Hogan does his best Swayze, where he gives away his positioning so the other person can react and stop it from happening.
I thought you were going to say his best Swayze when he takes a metal rod and bends it into a bunny.
Oh my god.
That was a great moment in Roadhouse.
Yeah, for sure. I do have a note that apparently, this was during this whole sequence. At one point, he crashes through the wall, and I just noted he fell on his fucking arse.
The Shockmaster! Hogan does have he knocks the first guy, the one that's not the Undertaker, through the floor. He just like kind of hammers on his shoulders, and he just falls like 4 flights or whatever. And then him and Undertaker start fighting. Taker has rocket boots, because I guess they all do.
Yeah.
Pushes him like Raiden in Mortal Kombat.
Hogan finds like a paper clip on the floor and just like triggers the rocket boots to just send him up through all the floors. And then he calls Undertaker camel breath.
Yes, I thought that was
Alien Campbells, you say?
It's a weird, because that sounds like it should be a racist insult for someone else, but he's using it for Undertaker, so I don't understand it. Because I've definitely heard it in older movies. I'm just gonna say
there could be a distinct possibility that
it was recast.
well, I was gonna say that the children may have originally played a bigger role in the story, and he might have overheard one of the kids saying it to one of the other kids and thinking that is like a super dope Earth insult to call somebody camel breath.
He heard the kids being super racist to like this poor kid in the neighborhood, and he's like, "That's a pretty good insult, brother."
I'm gonna take this to heart.
Bret Hart. You Yokozuna or you Bret Hart? Camel breath. That was his WrestleMania 9 promo, right?
Whether it's you or the
Yeah, it was much worse than what I said.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, he sends Taker up through all the floors. He fights with the other bounty hunter on the bottom floor. Eventually, he crushes him with a falling elevator. And then Taker gets to finally say his one line in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Nathan, would you like to deliver this reading?
You're a dead man, Ramsey.
Yep. That comes out of the Undertaker's mouth. I mean, not really, but it does in the movie.
How come no one has done any like random posts to edit like all his iconic promos in his whole WWF career with that voice?
Every time the rest in peace, you're a dead man, Ramsey. And the eyes roll back in his head.
No, just someone just like doing a child's voice, just like recreating all those promos.
I've dug a lot of holes and buried a lot of souls.
Rest in peace.
You're a dead man, Ramsey.
Yeah, it'd be great. Let's do it. Why not? And oh my God, Hogan has this stupid. It's like a wink, wink. I'm from wrestling line where when he kills the first guy and then Undertaker comes back, he's like, "What is this? A tag team?"
Yeah,
it's like, but he does kill.
No, that pilot would be later.
Oh yeah, right. He does kill Undertaker's character, I guess, in like the most cartoonish way ever because he sends him through a wall and he makes like that perfect outline, like the hands up and the legs, the hands and the legs out or whatever. And it's like, okay.
Yep.
Basically. To which I even noted, like, is he dead? Because like I didn't think that would have killed him. He just went up head first through like 6 floors at least.
Well, we do get confirmation because Christopher Lloyd uses the term waxed the enemies. Like he's like straight off of an NWA record.
Oh, God. I do like the moment we go back to Larry Miller and he's just like wasting time till Christopher Lloyd comes back because he's like, yeah, I say in this building we need 1 floor on each level and we need walls and well, possibly actually, a ceiling.
He does that. He also is talking about Raymond Burr being in Godzilla and Nick Adams being in Mothra.
Yeah.
If only he mentioned Gamera. I'm sorry, Nate.
Oh, that would have been great.
I thought about that. I was like, well, he's mentioning like a lot of kaiju movies just to get the Japanese investors to be like, oh, he's cool.
No, I can't imagine Larry Miller watching anime at the time.
You guys watch Akira? I'm a fan of that.
There you go.
It'd be like me trying to like talk about anime to stall them. I wouldn't have anything to say. Like that run that they did at the alien place. Yeah, I've watched the show that's based on.
And he does talk about his about each place needing a floor and walls and stuff like that,
and a ceiling.
He did stop short of just telling them that walls work.
I wanted to know more.
But then we go back because apparently the day is saved, guys. Hogan is like, I have to. My planet needs me. And he decides to go back. But suddenly, when Charlie returns home, he finds that, what's this? Oh, what the fuck is that guy's name again? Oh, Suter?
Yes, yeah, General Suter.
General Suter from the beginning of the movie is still alive. And he takes Christopher Lloyd's entire family hostage. Oh, hey, Shelley Duvall. Haven't seen you for 45 minutes.
Oh, also that he knew to do that because of a photo that Shep had where someone photoshopped out the background, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
I was about to say.
Well, also, like, so the only reason for that weird photo scene where Hogan was eating cake so that they can have this part where General Suter is like, oh, so he lives with you. Like,
or that they mean something to him.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, so it makes that scene even weirder because it's like, that was it. That was the whole reason for that. So anyway, General Suter finds them, and then he forces them to tell him where Hogan is and his ship. So he brings the whole family there. And in a very chilling line, when he's calling out Hogan, he says, and I quote, "You have 10 seconds to come out before you see the inside of this beautiful child's head."
Yeah.
Yeah.
PG.
Kids movie. Yeah.
Kids movie.
Yeah. Which I was like, oh man, that got like really uncomfortable quickly.
It's funny too, because when you were doing that, he was inside of his ship with like an advanced targeting system that could have easily pinpointed the top of that chap's head,
but he
and
missed,
taken care of the whole situation.
Didn't even have to blow up the ship either.
Yeah, he wouldn't have had to. Yeah, wouldn't have had to set the self-destruct sequence. Nothing like that.
No, but Hogan is basically trying to act tough at first, like I don't give a shit about that family, brother. Murder them in front of me, dude. But General Suter is like, I know you have a soft heart. I saw the cake photo. And then so he's like, okay, let the family go in exchange for me. You can do whatever you want to me, is what he says. And then Suter at this point would make, I think, Bond villains roll their eyes at how long he goes on about his plan. Like, he just drones and drones and drones. I survived the explosion because I always have a contingency plan. And don't you know I'm a lizard and blah, 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 blah. Even Hogan, even the movie knows, because Hogan is like, are you just going to bore me to death, dude?
Well, at least he said what we were all thinking.
Right?
About this movie.
But Christopher Lloyd drives his family off, and then he's like, you know what? I got to go back and help. I owe it to him. I owe it to him to help. And I don't know what he, like, honestly, at this point, I'm like, what are you going to do, dude? You're like a human being. This guy is an alien space lord, played by a middle-aged character actor. Good luck.
It's like his real name is like, Melvin or Phil or something.
It's like Glenn.
Yeah, there you
go. So he does go back though, and he gets beat up, obviously, Christopher Lloyd, but he does grab Hogan's like metal arm and grabs Suter's balls with it. That apparently triggers his transformation into alien form.
And which looked an awful lot like the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yes.
Yep.
Also, I thought a little bit Predator, just a little bit.
Well, I mean, they didn't want to get sued by either one of them, so you mix them both
just
up,
paint it
right?
green.
Yeah.
I see a lawsuit, so I need to paint it green.
And speaking of, that was probably where a good lion's share of the effects budget went to.
Oh, yeah. It's not it's a ripoff, but it's not a terrible looking suit.
No. It looks pretty good.
Yeah.
They destroy a miniature.
They do. The alien beats the shit out of Hogan. Let's just say that. He tears him up pretty bad. But then Hogan electrocutes the thing, and of course, cue the disco music.
Because so what do you think killed the beast? The electricity or the disco?
No, they say Hogan killed the beast.
Hogan killed the beast.
Hogan, yeah, so he gets the shit beat out of him, but he still pretty easily defeats Suter. Takes Christopher Lloyd and gets him out of there before the whole building blows up. His family shows up, and Hogan is like, oh, he was a hero. You should have seen him in there. He saved the day and all that stuff. Meanwhile, we go back to the boss, Christopher Lloyd's boss. Like, this is the moment you were talking about earlier where he's talking about like Godzilla and Raymond Burr.
Right, yeah, I thought that was earlier during the whole thing where he was like, and it's finished too. I'm kidding, of course.
But then Christopher Lloyd shows up and is basically like, I do all the work and you don't do anything, so I quit, and walks off, and Larry Miller's screwed. And then the movie should end there, but we get like... This is like the Return of the King of
like
movies.
7 goodbyes at the end of this thing.
You like recurring jokes? Here's some more.
Oh, we got to wrap up every single fucking joke we set up earlier. So Hogan earlier we didn't. I guess I didn't mention this, but earlier he was trying to go on a skateboard and he wiped out. That was the only time he really failed. So this is
one
Hulk
of his
Hogan.
biggest bumps in his career.
I wrote that he was not a dynamic dude, apparently.
Oh, well, wait till next week.
Only one of them.
Only one of them, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Too bad it wasn't the other one, right, Nathan? Your favorite?
That guy. Yeah. Oh, shut up.
Worst. Hogan shows up though to the skateboard bullies who are all 8 years old. And
but I didn't get. Were they supposed to be bullies? Because I thought they were friends with David Faustino's younger brother.
I think he was just wanted to show them up.
Mm-hmm.
And he starts going and by the way, Hogan is wearing the most 90s Zuba pants.
I was gonna say that's 1991 right there. Those Zubas.
Did he have a fanny pack on too? Because if he did and I missed it, I wouldn't be surprised. Hogan was just coming back from a show, and they're like, "We need you real quick, just pickups, just come on down."
We're doing reshoots, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, brother, just gotta finish beating Professor Toru Tanaka, dude. I don't think he was in the company that year.
1990.
The main event was Hulk Hogan against one half of the Orient Express. Yeah.
Not the oddest booking they've ever done.
No.
It was a school gym. So yeah, Hogan is amazing at skateboard tricks now. He does a headstand and everything. This time he does save Elisabeth Moss's cat, but she holds onto the branch and she goes flying through the air, and he catches her right in the nick of time. And he utters the immortal line, "Get a goldfish." There's more, guys. Hogan is leaving. He leaves on. Does he get on a helicopter?
It looked like Starbug to me, really. If Red Dwarf had maybe just a little bit more budget, their Starbug would look like this.
And who's leaving with them? Margie. They're an item now. By the way, Margie will surely die when she reaches his planet.
More than likely, because who's to say that first of all the oxygen level is right.
Yeah. Atmosphere and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, the air itself will probably kill her, if not the entire race that Hogan lives with that might not like her.
Head will pop like one of the bad guy from Total Recall.
And then the last scene in this movie is the origins of Christopher Lloyd becoming a villain, I have to assume, because he finally works up the courage to not only run that light, but he has Hogan's space gun, and he shoots the traffic light, therefore causing many accidents and probably multiple deaths.
Yeah, because he shot it, and everybody was like, "Yay!" and they took off through. I'm like, that's not how traffic signals work.
That's not a good idea.
You need that for an intersection.
What you guys are absolutely failing to realize that this dovetails quite nicely into the spiritual sequel. And I know I mentioned this earlier, but Falling Down, starring Michael Douglas, playing the Christopher Lloyd role, because Christopher Lloyd was like, "That's too violent for me."
That's a little too racist for me. I don't know about this McDonald's scene.
Could I be frozen today?
Yeah, exactly. I got that line, and Great Scott, what do you got for me? So that's Suburban Commando. So, Ryan.
Yes.
Would you say that this movie was worth a watch, a drunk watch with friends? Would you attempt head trauma to forget it, or avoid like the plague?
It is drunk watch with friends, honestly. I was expecting a lot worse. I think just from memory of just people talking about how bad it was versus maybe watching this a decade prior, so mixed memories. Man, so dumb. So dumb. But so I laughed so much more than I thought I would be.
Yeah. All right, Nathan, what do you think?
Oh, drunk watch, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. It has the abilities to get up into the lunacy of a Ford Fairlane or even Secret of the Ooze, but it doesn't quite go full bore into that direction. So it's good for a good laugh, but I'm not going to say I legitimately love this movie as well.
Yeah, and I think across the board it's a drunk watch. I agree. I just kept laughing at the movie, not at the jokes that they were doing, but just at are they really doing this? Like, what is happening now? What? Why is Hogan
the
doing
absurdity
this?
Where, like, this would really be a cool cartoon where that logic can be certainly passed, but I think it's just hilarious just seeing it played out in a live action movie directed by a guy who mostly did westerns in the 50s.
John Ford directed this? You want me to do what?
No, but it was someone who I think worked with John Ford. So
Sergio Leone.
Oh, God. So, what, brother? You want me to just stand here for 10 minutes and stare, brother? Yeah, so it's a drunk watch across the board. Well, on that note, then, we are going to take a brief break, and we'll be right back.
What were they thinking?
Support for Age of Radio is brought to you by Manscaped. When it comes to below-the-waist grooming, Manscaped is the champions of the world. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. They just launched their 4th-generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right, the Lawnmower 4.0. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with their balls. With this exclusive offer to you, 20% off and worldwide shipping with code Age of Radio. That is AGEOFRADIO at manscaped.com. That is Age of Radio at manscaped.com. Grab yourself the Lawnmower 4.0. Your balls will thank you.
It's time, let's check our cue, baby. Pair it with a couple brews, baby. We love good movies. We love the bad ones too. So we watch them all and pass their lessons on to you. Oh yeah. Everything I learned from movies helps to make life a little bit groovy. With a one-liner plot holes and gratuitous movies. It's time to get busy with your friend Steve and Izzy.
At eilfm.podbean.com.
What were they thinking?
And we're back.
Yes, we are back.
Yes, and now comes the time on the program where we are going to get a little bit poetic here, Nathan.
Yes.
It's time for the Low Haiku. Tell the good folks what the Low Haiku is all about.
Well, the Low Haiku is 17 perfect syllables to describe the movie that we were just talking about. So,
that's right. So, Ryan, as our guest, would you like to start with your haiku?
Sure. I'm absolutely going to do my haiku for definitely the best segment of them all that doesn't take forever to come up. I got one. So, are you ready to snap and click or however they do it in this bar? Been a while. It's been a while, folks. Okay.
Was that your haiku?
No. Yes. Okay, I actually do have to do it now. Okay. Words said by Hulkster in this filmed suburbia commands the big screen. Yes, okay.
Very good, very
Tip
good.
your waitress on the way out.
Okay. Hulk Hogan, spaceman. Schwarzenegger said, "No thanks. What's your excuse, Lloyd?" Thank you.
Mine is reminiscent of the idea that I had actually seen this before on video. So, oh no, not again. Gonna no-sell this garbage. Was frozen today.
Low Haiku.
Hey,
Hey, back in the chopper here. It's looking real gusty up here.
I just had 3 pots of coffee.
Glaven.
I'm going down.
All right. Well, we talked about this movie. The 3 of us did. But Nathan, what do we always say?
Well, we always say.
Don't take a word for us.
That's right, folks. Don't take our word for it. In fact, maybe we should rely on the wonderful people at Rotten Tomatoes. I'm sure the critics adored this film. How many? What percentage of critics liked it, Nathan?
15%.
1.5
of 13 reviews.
The audience, though, I'm sure, much more glowing.
32%.
Oh.
Out of 10,000 plus reviews.
This looks like nostalgia did not hold its ground here.
No.
Well, Ryan, actually, why don't you start us off, because you got something there for us regarding the critics' takes on this film.
Yeah, it's like there's a good one from on Rotten Tomatoes, but I found something interesting by going through WrestleCrap, the very worst of pro wrestling. They have a chapter going through a bunch of movies at the time, and so for Suburban Commando, was a marginally better film than No Holds Barred, but that didn't keep it from bombing. It made less than $7 million at the box office. The reviews were harsh. Roger Ebert went so far as to claim that this movie caused him to reconsider his chosen profession. Somebody was asking the other day, do I ever get tired of going to the movies? Nah, I said, I love movies. And so many days, it's not really a job. It's more of a lucky break. But I wasn't feeling lucky the day I saw Suburban Commando. And you know what? By golly, by the time it was over, I was feeling kind of tired of going to the movies.
They broke Roger Ebert.
1 out of 4.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's ever walked out of movies that he was trying to review. Gene Siskel, I think, did that once, but I don't think Roger ever did that.
I think he... Yeah. I feel like he did with I Spit on Your Grave or something like that. Like there was something.
Okay, so yeah.
But I think it also had to do with the audience that was there, that he felt like uncomfortable and he quickly got out of there.
Yeah.
Because like
that makes a lot more sense.
He said that when he went to see that, I remember him saying like when he went to go see that movie, there were like people cheering in the audience during like the rape scene and shit. And he was like, I don't like this.
See, that's different. That's taste. It's not like maybe just like a goonish movie like this. But it's definitely a big extreme for sure.
Well, Michael E. Grost of Classic Film and Television says, minor but pleasant comedy with touches of satire. But that's a negative review.
Let's see. Scott Weinberg of eFilmCritic.com wrote, hey, at least Hogan's consistent with his cinematic output. Consistently awful. 1 out of 5.
Okay, from Luke Y. Thompson. Hogan an alien? I suspected as much. Watch for the cameo by Mark Undertaker Calloway.
Wow, I'm only going to read one more critics review because there's not that many. But Emily Blunt.
Oh, wow.
Judging by that picture, has fallen on some hard times. That's a terrible thing to say.
Back in 2005.
Yeah, she's probably a lovely lady. Emily Blunt of Blunt Review says, late at night you ask yourself, how do films like this get made? I think what she meant to say is, what were they thinking?
I think that's really what she should have said. My last one comes from Ryan Cracknell from Apollo Guide, and he wrote, shows why Hulk Hogan should have stuck to the wrestling ring. 42 out of 100.
Oh, wow. Okay. I want to see the rating system.
Yeah.
And I see one for Harriet Waugh from The Spectator. A waste of celluloid.
There we go.
Brevity is the soul of wit.
All right, let's get into the auteurs here. The audience reviews. Okay. So Jacob B gives it 1 out of stars. He says, a Hulk Hogan vanity project disguised as a Masters of the Universe knockoff pretending to be a Star Wars Rambo crossover. Suburban Commando has some decent bits of action and Christopher Lloyd's performance is entertaining, but at the end of the day, it's just a stupid, stupid movie that exists just to cash in on how popular Hulk Hogan was at the moment. Though this movie did give us the immortal quote, "I was frozen today." So there's that.
Okay, well, I've got one here from Brian A. I'm assuming it's Brian Adams, the wrestler, not the singer. And he wrote, if you're not a 90s kid or a Hulk Hogan fan, then you probably won't like this movie. It's good for a 90s nostalgia and some funny scenes. 3 out of stars.
All right.
Ben S., which I'm going to assume is Ben Shapiro, wrote for 1 star.
Ben the Hammer Shapiro? Oh, no, that's George. George the Hammer Shapiro.
Remember your late night commercials for sure, and localized commercials. I was frozen today. The only thing funny about this movie.
Did he dissect the lyrics of any of the songs?
About it not wanting to visit here?
Now, suppose the vagina was going to get wet. He'll never live that down. I love it.
I know. It's like perfect.
All right. This review suspiciously is from Terry B. And he gives it 5 out of stars. And he says, Hulkamania's still running wild, brother. I love this cheesy movie despite all the mainstream over-criticism from indoctrinated viewers. If you love Hulk Hogan and are a true Hulkamaniac, then you will love this. Not to gloss over the awesome Christopher Lloyd, who was frozen today. Yep.
I underestimate the staying power of that fucking one line.
It's all over.
It was a meme about a decade ago.
And one here from Chris C., so I'm assuming it's Chris Candido.
Keep this going.
Yeah. Though humorous to a certain extent throughout, Suburban Commando is a forgettable sci-fi comedy gem with a post-Rocky II role as a space warrior by Hulk Hogan and features the unfortunately wasted talent of Christopher Lloyd following the success of the Back to the Future franchise. 3 out of stars.
I got one from Callum
Beyond
R.
the Grave. Sorry, go ahead.
Some say Citizen Kane is the best movie of all time. Others say a Tarantino or Scorsese masterpiece. I say Suburban Commando. And that's the only movie he's ever watched. And maybe just like only in passing heard about Citizen Kane. He's like, yeah, whatever.
Black and white. Boo. Okay. I hate to go back to this, but it's all over these reviews. Cody B., who I think was the director of Pro Wrestlers vs. Zombies, gives it 5 out of stars and says, it's not that bad. The best line from Best Actor with WWE Hall of Famer, I was frozen today.
Okay, how do you give a 5-star review and start out it's not that bad?
You'll have to ask the director of Pro Wrestlers vs. Zombies.
Okay.
It was 5 out of 5 for averageness.
Yeah.
Well, I've got the one here from Dave B., so I'm assuming it's Dave Bautista.
Nice.
He writes, more stupid fun from the Hulkster as he plays an intergalactic renegade hiding out on Earth until he can set things straight. A recipe for wackiness. 3 out of stars.
Oh, Batista.
One from Virgil. Good movie. Funny. A must-see.
Sorry, can you...
Meat sauce!
Can you repeat the review from Virgil again?
Good movie. Funny. A must-see.
Wow. Weirdly friendly tone in that review. Okay, Joseph M. Joseph Mercury.
Joey Mercury, yeah.
Mercury,
okay.
Gives it 5 out of stars, and he says, a philosophical look into the evolving family structure.
Okay.
So I never thought of it that way. I guess this movie's great.
All right, well, let's see what I can find here. David A. So I assume it's David Arquette.
Okay. Oh, I was going to say, that doesn't... Oh, it does.
It does. Yes, it does. Oh. In fact, we talked a whole lot about it last year. Cheesy special effects, but good Hulk Hogan action/comedy. 5 out of stars.
He just wants that title again.
One thing I feel like I see one of many, so I'll just say it like, I was frozen today was just the only comment. And some of them only like with 1 star.
All right, my last one here is going to be from Larry G. Uh-oh. Larry,
Gertner.
Gertner.
Larry Gertner, Joel's less talented cousin.
There you go. Larry Gertner gives it 4 out of stars, and there is very little punctuation in this, so bear with me. Now, I know this movie wasn't that much loved like at all, LOL, but I just loved it because I still watch WWE and TNA, and I know it's all fake, but I loved it then, and I still love it now, LOL. I'm just going to be true to myself, and if I'm a big kid for it, so be it. LOL, this movie owned.
Could you have less commas and periods?
There's 1 period in there, I think. All right, that's my last one.
Okay, well, I got one here from Scott A. So I'm assuming it's Scott Armstrong.
Mm-hmm.
And look that one up, guys.
I mean, he was a referee not that long ago.
Right. This movie is what really started Hollywood Hogan's movie career. You will laugh, cry, and other emotions from riveting acting.
Other emotions.
Sorry. I gotta do that again. This movie is what really started Hollywood Hogan's movie career.
I know, Hollywood Hogan's movie career. I get it.
Never saw Rocky 3.
Yeah. All right. This movie is what really started Hollywood Hogan's movie career. You will laugh, cry, and other emotions from the riveting acting Hogan displays. Though this is no Thunder in Paradise, it is still a masterpiece. 5 out of stars.
Ugh.
From Scott Armstrong.
I knew he was an evil referee.
I think this one's like pretty appropriate for 2.5 stars. Look at Hulk. He's funny. Because there was 1, 2, 3, 4 U's and 2 N's.
Wonderful. There we go. The snake pit is complete. Nathan, we should talk about we should hint at next week because we're going to talk about a wrestling event. Do you have a hint for us as to what's to come?
Wait. Shouldn't this have been held in Detroit and in the future?
There you go. There's a little hint ski for the wrestling event we're going to talk about next week. Ryan will be back as well.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, so that is what's coming up. Nathan, were you wondering anything about what we've been doing?
Well, you mean you guys, I suppose. I'm going to ask you about this whole staying inside and safe and everything that we're all doing. So I just kind of wondering what you watching, bud?
Yeah, Ryan, what you watching, bud?
Oh, thanks for asking there, bud. Too many to list. It's weird. We're in this weird situation. Do you guys prefer with this binge model of watching something, or do you miss waiting a week for like a new episode of something?
I like waiting. Waiting a week for WandaVision.
Yeah,
I enjoy
as it
that.
Should.
It depends. If it's like Community, I'll just watch it. Just let me watch it.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's like something that builds the story, I'd rather take my time.
See, for me, in a situation like a Community or like a standard sitcom, the week-to-week thing doesn't bother me. It's when a show is written almost like they're designed to be binged. That then in that situation, I'd rather just kind of sit down and watch as many episodes as I can and burn through it in like a day or two or something.
I really like what they've been doing with WandaVision because they do kind of leave you a little taste at the end, but it's not like a complete cliffhanger. Like you're not like, I mean, I am like, oh, I got to wait a week, but that's just because that show's great. But anyway, Ryan, go ahead. Tell us what you've been watching.
Sure. I was only going by that because I'm trying something different. So if there's something like on a streaming that has like all the seasons, I try to do just a couple of episodes a day. So I'm a huge anime fan, so like they have City Hunter on Retro Crush, so I watch a couple of episodes per day of that. I mostly listen to a lot of podcasts just because like it's something that's good background if I'm just either level grinding in a game or something like that. So I typically just listen to podcasts that deal with video games and cartoons mostly.
There you go. What about you, Nathan? What you been watching, bud?
Just Been watching a lot of television as well. I actually started checking out this new one by CBC called Pretty Hard Cases. It almost seems like it's a Canadian version of LA's Finest.
Okay.
I don't know if any of you have ever watched LA's Finest. It's a spin-off of the Bad Boys movies, but starring Martin Lawrence's sister from Bad Boys 2. And it's set in LA. It's not Florida. So, I mean, there's that. But that's not the show I'm talking about. This is Pretty Hard Cases. It's on CBC and CBC Gem.
All right, there we go.
Yeah.
And what about you, bud?
Brendan, what are you watching, bud?
Am I watching, bud? I just saw, going perfectly with the theme of Suburban Commando. I watched a movie recently called Muriel's Wedding. It's actually, I think, now if I'm wrong, I apologize, but I'm pretty sure it's Toni Collette's on-screen debut, or at least very close to that. And it was wild to hear her doing her real accent. I sometimes forget that she is an Australian. But it's an Australian movie. Toni Collette is in it, and basically she's like an outcast. Her friends are super fake. They don't actually like her. And her dad is like this corrupt politician. He gives her a blank check. So it's not like the movie Blank Check. No adults are making out with kids in this movie. He gives her a blank check and she goes off on vacation. And, it's kind of more of a character thing than an actual plot driven movie, but it's a lot of fun. And it's, there's some moments that are dark, and, Toni Collette is great. And I'm watching this movie and I'm like, yeah, no wonder you turned out to be a terrific actor. So Muriel's Wedding, check it out.
All right.
Cool.
Well, at this moment, Nathan, Montrose Monkington, would Montrose like to come in and say a few words and bless us with his presence?
Yeah, sure. I can get that guy just a second. Hello, it's good friend Montrose Monkington III here, and while I am currently hiatusing, I do encourage you to go back to my back catalog, where I talk about the wrestling, and there's a few other sketches as well when I went hunting and celebrated Halloween, and then that time I fled to the woods in a Planet of the Apes style getaway. But that can all be found on Montrose Monkington TV on the YouTube. You can also be friends with me on Facebook, the Facebook group Montrose Monkington III Esquire and Friends, as our good friend Ryan here is. And I would also say, do feel free to tweet at me on Twitter at the handle at Montrose III. That's the number 3RD. Ryan, as always, it's great to see you.
Oh, good to see you too, Montrose.
More later.
Oh, well, thank you, Montrose, for stopping by. And Ryan, thank you for stopping by.
No problem.
We will see you again next week. Do you have anything you want to plug? Where can people find you on the interwebs so they can stalk you and locate your home address?
Do you want people to find you on the interwebs?
Sure, why not?
Yeah. Do you want to just read your home phone number on the air as well?
Yes, it's 555.
Your social insurance number there, too.
Which is also 555.
I am a prince, and all I need is...
No, I mostly, if I'm doing anything social media-wise, just to talk about nerdy stuff on Twitter at SlackerWriter.
There we go. SlackerWriter.
Hmm?
Yep.
So we'll all be back next week. And as for us, you can find us on Facebook. Just search for What Were They Thinking. We are there. We're also on Twitter and Instagram at WWTT Podcast. We're on all the podcast apps. Our home base is, of course, Age of Radio.
Big time.
You can go to ageofradio.org/whatweretheythinking. We're on Redbubble, TeePublic, Patreon.com/WWTT Podcast. Sign up there for some cool extra stuff. And I think that's about it. So as we close out this episode, Nathan, do you have any questions?
I suppose I think I got a couple of questions here. I mean, with a movie that was originally designed to be a Schwarzenegger DeVito vehicle, and a movie where we could probably speculate that Christopher Lloyd signed on before Hulk Hogan signed on as far as replacements go,
Mm-hmm.
and with a movie where Shelley Duvall is criminally underutilized, and Larry Miller is criminally overutilized. And with a movie which is clearly knocking off, at least a half a dozen way better movies. And they don't include Brutus the Barber Beefcake in any way, shape, or form, despite the involvement of Hulk Hogan.
He was doing stunts. He was credited as a stuntman.
And Ryan, how was he credited?
Brutus Beefcake.
There you go. Continue.
How else?
Okay. Oh,
didn't get a
then
role.
I stand
didn't
corrected.
Get a role, but he did get to do stunts.
He must have been one of the ponytail goons at the very first.
Yeah.
Then if they didn't put him, Hulk Hogan couldn't get him front, face, and center. I simply need to ask,
What's your question, brother?
What were they thinking?